Welcome back, everyone. It's the first week of February, and we are going to be looking at the benefits of using single ingredient formulas. I will introduce myself for those of you who do not know who I am. My name is Joanne Carr, and I'm the director of OASIS, which is our education department here at Omega Alpha. Welcome back, and everybody's going to get a copy of the recording tomorrow. I'll send that out, and we are going to look at how to effectively use single ingredient formulas and how beneficial they can be. And the reason why we're talking about single ingredient formulas this morning is because most of the time I talk about combination formulas, multi-ingredient formulas, and how beneficial and comprehensive they are to the body, which is very true. But there are situations where there's a benefit or many benefits of using single ingredient formulas, and we're going to delve into that this morning. If you have any questions at all throughout this morning's presentation, please don't hesitate to write your questions out in the chat or the Q&A option. I will stop at that time and I will do my best to answer your questions. You don't have to wait till the end. And you will be getting a copy of the presentation as well, but please feel free to take notes as I'm talking or interrupt me as I am speaking. So it's very informal here. So we're going to look at, I've basically given it away here because I've shown images of the products that we're going to look at today. We've got 4 different vitamin Ds, and we're going to be looking at noni juice and goji juice. Noni juice and goji juice don't usually get a lot of love with respect to presentations. They haven't been included very often during the year, over the years, but today we're going to give them a little bit of love. So, the benefits of using single ingredient formulas, and there are a number of benefits. When people choose single ingredient formulas, it will give you an idea right off the bat which ingredient works for you, which ingredient doesn't work for you. When you take a multi-ingredient formula, yes, they are more comprehensive, as I always speak about, and they support that part of the body in a more comprehensive way, which is logical. Now, when you use single ingredient formulas, you'll know pretty quickly if that product is going to be, if that ingredient is going to be working for you or not. And also, when you take single ingredient formulas, there's less of a chance that you will experience any type of side effect versus taking a multitude of ingredients. And we'll get back to that in a little bit. So you can better adjust your supplement regimen based on your specific needs. And single ingredient formulas do have their place. And I will talk more about that when we get to our final slide, which is our strategy slide. And I believe there's a strategy to everything in life, whether you're looking at taking supplements, how you eat, if you're a sports fanatic, you play sports, or even trying to tackle a problem. There's different ways that we can look at it. Also, it's more cost effective when you take a single ingredient formula. And back in the day, many years ago, I worked in a health food store, and that gave me tremendous insight into what is available on the market. And things have changed so much from 20 some years ago, even. But looking at what's available to the consumer, how people make their choices about the supplements, very enlightening. And I take that with me all the time. And yes, things have changed and trying to stay abreast of everything. But here at Omega Alpha, we do stay abreast of what's going on with the most recent research. And everybody who joins me is more than welcome to ask about more in-depth scientific research, and I'd be happy to send that information to you. I basically just go over general information, put everything in a nutshell, let people know what the product is good for in different situations, you can use it and all that type of thing. But if you're the type of individual that likes to get into the nitty-gritty research, we have that available for you as well. So there's the cost thing. There's giving you a better idea of what's working and potentially what's not working. Then, if you're taking medications, which many people are, and this is another logical statement I'm going to make. When you take something that has 5 or 6 or 7 ingredients in it, there's an increased chance that there could potentially be a response or a side effect. Even though, many people think because we are making natural supplements that there will be no contraindications at all if you're taking medications of any kind because these are all natural, so no need to worry. And that could not be further from the truth. We still have to be aware, we still have to understand that looking at certain ingredients, they could cause the medications to work less effectively, and we do not want that to be happening. So there's a decreased potential for side effects when you're taking a single ingredient formula with medication, of course, versus a multi-ingredient formula. So having said that, let's just delve into our single ingredient supplements and take a look at how they can help us. Supplementing the sun. Well, right now, where I live, I'm just about an hour east of Toronto, and we are, this is the time of year when the sun's not out as much, generally speaking. So it all depends on where you live and your requirements for certain nutrients. Now, we're going to look at vitamin D first, and we call vitamin D the sunshine supplement. Vitamin D is a hormone-like substance that our bodies will make when our skin is directly exposed to sunlight. So the sunlight activates vitamin D through the skin. But if we're not getting a lot of sunlight, a lot of people will supplement vitamin D, or they'll increase their intake of vitamin D rich foods, for example. So it all depends on what's going on, where you live, and the time of year, and things like that. It will depend on the degree of UV light exposure, the amount of pigment contained in the skin as well. That's also another factor. People with darker complexions usually need more light exposure than people with light complexions. And me being a very fair complexion, I burn very easily. So we always talk about supporting our skin by putting sunscreen on. And there's good quality sunscreens. There's ones that don't have a lot of chemicals in them. There's that factor as well. But when we do put sunscreen on, it basically protects us from the sun so we won't get as much sun. We won't burn. And of course, then we look at what burning can do to our skin. I'm digressing a little bit here, so I'm going to get back on track here. It's important to talk about sunscreen and why certain types of pigments in the skin could lend to some people having to use more sunscreen than others, of course. But the sun's rays can potentially cause skin damage and oxidative stress to the skin. So vitamin D, and this is important to understand here with regards to the different forms of vitamin D. This will, as a consumer, understanding why certain forms of vitamin D are better than others. So vitamin D has four chemical forms, and they each have a slightly different structure. The form that is most active with us as human beings is vitamin D3. And I find that a lot of supplements, vitamin D supplements on the market are vitamin D3, which it's not synthetic. It is the most active form that we can use. So ours, you'll see on the bottle, it says cholecalciferol, which is the animal form. So being an animal form, it comes from sheep lanolin. So let me explain how we get this, what process is involved. No sheep are killed during the processing of our vitamin D. So for people who are vegan, they would not be able to take our vitamin D3. And I'm bringing that up because vitamin D3 can come from different sources. Ours just happens to come from an animal form. So basically, we shear the wool. And we all know that wool is used to make clothing and things like that. But the oil that is left from the shearing process, the oil is used to make our vitamin D. So the sheep, of course, are not killed during this process. I just wanted to let everyone know where this comes from because we get a lot of questions about that. So I thought I would introduce it or put it on the slide so everyone is aware. But vitamin D3 is always your best bet because it's most active for humans. So we're going to look at the different we have vitamin D3, all of the different we're going to look at four products. All four of them come from the same source, sheep lanolin, from the oil that is taken from the shearing process. But we do have concentrated versions of vitamin D and non-concentrated versions. And I find there's some confusion out there. The toll-free number that's on all of our bottles, I get a lot of questions, and there's a lot of, well, not a lot, there's some confusion. So hopefully I will alleviate some of that confusion this morning. The concentrated drops versus the regular formulas, the concentrated drops are more concentrated, so you only need to take one drop to give you 1,000 international units. Now, what some people will do, because there is a dropper inside the container, inside the bottle, and there is a 1 milliliter measure there, which is kind of, I think it confuses people if you don't read the label properly. So one drop will give you 1,000 international units. Now, who are the people that would take a concentrated version than a non-concentrated version? Well, people who require more vitamin D. So who would those people be? Well, these people might be people who are suffering with a bone issue, osteoporosis, or suffering with a certain type of cancer, or maybe suffering with, for example, depression or seasonal affective disorder, or we call that SAD. People who require more vitamin D, this is going to be more cost effective to go with the concentrated drops. Also, families, families of 4 or 5 people, or again, will be more cost effective because you're able to, this product will last longer than the regular, the non-concentrated version. So you do only need to take one drop to give you 1,000 IUs. I know some people have taken 6,000 or even more than that. And just to alleviate any fears surrounding vitamin D, back in the day, there was a cap on how much we could take before it was becoming toxic. Vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin, so if we take too much, it will be stored in our liver. So back in the day, again, back when there was less research surrounding vitamin D3, people were just taking 400 international units. So nowadays, 1,000 international units, that's not even the cap, depending on what you need it for. So that one drop will give you 1,000 international units. You'll see that information on the label, of course. Then we have our regular version of vitamin D3, which is unflavored. We have an unflavored and a flavored version. So the unflavored version is in a bottle that's 120 milliliters. And there are people out there who don't like flavored products. And so we wanted to have something that will support their needs, and they can do whatever they want with that, of course. I mean, they can mix it in with something that they're blending, but there are just some people who don't like flavored supplements. And so for them, we have the unflavored version. So for this particular formula, 1 milliliter versus one drop will give the individual 1,000 international units. So hopefully this clarifies some things and it's not clear as mud, because I don't want it to be clear as mud. I want it to be clear. So per 1 milliliter, you're getting 1,000 international units. The product we just looked at, with one drop, you're getting 1,000 international units. So there is definitely a difference. And we've had people calling us saying, well, I actually took 1 ml of the concentrated version. Is that fatal, or should I be concerned? Absolutely not. As long as you're not doing it over the span of weeks or months at a time, there shouldn't be an issue. But I just wanted to clarify this today with everybody so there will be less confusion if you ever wanted to try the vitamin D3 that we make. Then we also have another regular adult version that's orange flavored. It's a natural orange flavor for people who prefer flavored liquids. And so with 1 milliliter, just like the unflavored, you are getting 1,000 international units. But again, the vitamin D3, and we're going to get to the slide where I talk about how vitamin D3 can be beneficial for our health. We are getting there. We're almost there. So you would take 1 milliliter to give you 1,000 international units. And if you need to take more than 1,000 international units, you would take more than 1 milliliter, and that's fine for people who don't necessarily want it to go the concentrated drop route. But at the end of the day, you're still going to gain all the benefits of what the vitamin D3 can bring to the table, so to speak. And then we have a vitamin D3. It's a concentrated version for children. Now, over the span of working and talking to people over the years, I just find that parents or grandparents, whomever we're speaking to, and I do find this to be true, and I agree with this, that there are just some people who prefer that it states that it's for children. I find this is very, I find the fact that we do have formulations for children very good, because there's a hesitancy to give something that we would take for a 3 or 4 year old child, not knowing the dosing. That is a fear, and people tend to stay away from stuff like that. And I don't blame them. But the fact that it states that it's for children, I think, is a great selling feature, and people can rest assured that the amount on the bottle is based on the needs of children. Again, that all the dosing is listed on the label, children and adolescents. So for infants to 13 years of age, one drop, which is 500 international units, again, can be mixed in juice or water, can be mixed with food, oatmeal, things like that, a protein shake. These are just different ways that we can get these concentrated drops into children. I have three grandchildren, three grandsons, and they all take this product, the youngest being 2, and they love the taste of it. They actually ask for it whenever they come to our house. They'll say, Nana, can I have some vitamin D? And they also have it at their home, but they're very physically active. They play sports, but also it's the winter. We're not seeing as much sunlight, so I'm always suggesting that they take it now, especially because that vitamin D, that it's activated by the sun. If the sun's not there and they're not getting foods from their diet, which quite often they're not, the vitamin D3 concentrated drops for them works very well, and it helps support their bones and so forth. But we're going to look at other ways that vitamin D can work. It's not just about the bones, and I'm so glad for that. So is it okay to put in hot oatmeal, not just room temperature or cold foods? Yes, Sarah, you can definitely put it in hot oatmeal. It doesn't have to be in cold foods or room temperature. It's not going to destroy the integrity of the vitamin D. That's a very valid question, by the way, because usually heat will destroy or it will interfere with the integrity of certain nutrients, but it will not in this particular case. So please feel free to give to younger children. I love the fact that it says for kids, and we're going to look at how it can benefit children and adults alike. Perfect segue into the next slide. So this is what this is what they will look like. The concentrated versions for adults and for children alike would be a bottle inside a box. The vitamin D 50 ml orange is in a 50 ml container or bottle. The unflavored is in a 120 ml bottle. But again, this is what they will look like to give you an idea. And let's go back in the day. I like to visit the olden times to a certain degree. Going back in time when I mentioned about vitamin D and the capping being 400 international units, long gone are those days. Also, long gone are those days for what vitamin D can do for you. Back in the day, I always remember vitamin D is for bone health, osteoporosis. Nowadays, thankfully, thanks to research and unfortunately people developing certain health issues, vitamin D is not only good for our bone health, osteoporosis, and so forth, it's also good for mental health issues, depression. And again, that's something we always suggest that people speak with their healthcare provider if they're on medications and so forth. But depending on the healthcare provider, they may or may not be for some of these types of supplements. Vitamin D is pretty straightforward, though. It's not like herbal supplements where there's the unknown and, the lack of knowledge with regards to there. But vitamin D, there's a lot of great research to support it being used for other things outside of osteoporosis. We do find, of course, vitamin D is needed to get calcium into the gut, the absorption of calcium into the gut, and also getting calcium into the bones, because when we look at just taking vitamin D by itself, if someone's not taking calcium or magnesium, it can only work so well. And we're going to look at ways we can incorporate vitamin D with other supplements for optimal inclusion, I guess you could say. But vitamin D is good for the bones. Yes, it's good for the brain. It's good for our nervous system. It's good for our immune system, how we breathe. Back when, COVID seemed so long ago, but yet not so much. And of course, it's always morphing and changing. It's all just about supporting respiratory health. And we did sell a lot of vitamin D back then, and we are still selling a lot of vitamin D. But during COVID, we were recommending products like the Lung Flush and Respiree and vitamin D because they all help support the health of the lungs. Of course, osteoporosis is a known, but we also need to understand that it's not just one single ingredient that's going to help us. There's no miracle vitamin or supplement out there that's going to help us with everything. It's about understanding and educating ourselves. And that's why you come to these webinars. And I'm glad you do, because there's, again, strategies that we develop to allow for optimal ingestion, optimal use of these formulas. Blood sugar regulation, cardiovascular health, mental clarity, and boy, I can use some of that from time to time. Athletes are physically active individuals, and this is where we go to young people, middle-aged people, any age category really can benefit from taking vitamin D because those individuals have higher nutrient requirements when we're more physically active. And of course, coming back to those who are not getting enough sun exposure this time of year, predominantly we see a lot of people increasing their vitamin D intake because they're not getting as much sun. And it can be depressing. It's amazing how when the sun is shining, how that can make it that can change how we feel. Not in everybody, but in many people, you see the sun shining and you think, "Oh, you know, I want to get out there. I want to enjoy that sun. I want to take my dog for a walk, or I just want to get out there and move around," because it's very easy to become depressed when the sun is not shining, when we're inside because it's so cold. This time of year is notorious for people becoming a little bit more depressed or feeling under the weather. So getting that vitamin D from the sun is crucial. And we can't do that. We can add these supplements. Acne, skin issues. I know people young individuals who get acne, and of course, it's very much related to hormones. And then some people get what we call adult acne. It may not even be acne, maybe it's psoriasis or eczema. And vitamin D, again, back to the research, is supporting vitamin D intake for any skin related issues. So it spans far further outside of just osteoporosis nowadays. So I just wanted to share that with everybody because vitamin D is an integral part of other programs, other protocols that we can use it for. Now, phytonutrients. Anytime you see the term phyto being used, it's just a fancy name for plant. So it's nutrients coming from plant sources. And at Omega Alpha, we are very well known for plant-based nutrients because a lot of our formulas are botanicals or herbals, I guess you could say, and we're well known for those herbals. Herbs are very safe, not to say vitamin D isn't, but for people, many people take vitamin D already. A lot of people have never taken herbal-based formulas before. So there is a very large safety margin there for plant-based types of supplements. So what are phytonutrients? Well, they come from plants. They protect the plants from germs, fungi, bugs, and other threats. So they naturally protect. And so if we consume plant-based nutrients, it would make sense that we would be protected from consuming these types of plants because they have their own built-in protection system. There are more than 25,000 phytonutrients found in the plant kingdom. That was surprising to me. I had no idea that it was that high. It just goes to show of the options we have, the different variations we have available to us. Phytonutrient-rich foods include colorful fruits and vegetables, legumes, herbs, nuts, tea, whole grains, many spices. I always suggest, when you're eating a meal, look at your plate when you go to eat your lunch or your dinner. How does your plate look? Is it colorful? Is it bland? If it's colorful, that means you're getting different types of phytonutrients, different antioxidants. And that's something that I normally suggest to eat the rainbow. I know it's something that we hear over and over again, but by eating a variety of different fruits and vegetables and different colors, we are providing different types of phytonutrients or antioxidants. We are inviting them into our system. We also have legumes, like beans and so forth, herbs, nuts, tea, whole grains, and many spices, of course, cooking with different spices is a great way of introducing nutrients into our diet. And I'm a big fan of trying to get nutrients from our foods and not relying solely on supplements. But sometimes we need to take supplements if we're feeling under the weather or if we need a little bit more support from time to time. During I guess you could say we're all dealing with stress to some degree, but when the stress can be overbearing or ongoing, these phytonutrients can really help us. Now, they do affect our health, but they're not considered essential for life. They can improve our health. You know, essential for life, we're looking at carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals, and so forth. Macronutrients, for example. So that's going to lead us into looking at the noni and the goji juice. Now, I remember I think it was maybe 18 years ago when I started working at Omega Alpha. I remember I was working in the office one day and I remember this awful smell because we make everything on site. And, I'm going to be completely honest with everybody here. Not everybody likes the taste of noni or goji. We all are very different with regards to our taste buds. But I remember thinking, what on earth is that smell? So, I found out they were making noni juice. And I thought, oh my goodness, why on earth would anybody want to take this product? Well, we have it available in an unflavored and a flavored version. And the flavored version is the one that I choose because I've tried both. And I think we all have to try these things to know what we like, obviously. But there again, when we get to that slide, I'll go into more detail about that. But why would someone want to take noni to begin with? There's the question. Well, it's a great source of antioxidants or phytonutrients. And noni has been around for centuries. And we have a lot of information in our marketing pieces about the benefits of noni fruit. And it's been used for thousands of years by ancient healers. And again, this is where we get a lot of our information. And it helps fight against oxidative stress, free radicals. Stress is just, it naturally creates free radicals in the body. Traditionally, noni's been used for healing wounds, helping with infections, diabetes, fevers, skin problems. And many people are using it because of the appreciation for ancient healers. Folklore and tales of folklore, there is truth based in that. So when we look at noni juice, it's a single ingredient formula, and that's why I'm bringing it to your attention today. But it's another way of getting antioxidants. You can make up your own, you can mix it into a protein shake, anything that you like, you can mix it in with food if you like. It's just another way or another option to get more antioxidants into your system. Now, maybe I shouldn't have said that the smell of it was off-putting, but again, it all depends on the individual. It's just I'm being transparent here because I think it's important that we understand that noni juice may not be for everybody, whether it's the apple flavor or the unsweetened, but it's one way to get more antioxidants into your system and support your immune system to help with energy. Because I do find that when you take noni juice, I do find a real pickup with my energy levels, an increase in my energy levels pretty quickly. So our noni fruit, it's the noni fruit itself is wild harvested from the Amazon and it's organic. It's a great source of antioxidants and other vitamins, and it's great for people with allergies who need a little bit of boost to their energy. If you're following a weight management program right now, and I did talk about weight loss I talked a little bit about weight loss last month and looking at cleansing the body and giving us more energy so we can do all the different things that we need to do during the day. It is a natural detoxifier, so it helps to clear toxins from the body. If people don't necessarily want to go with a multi-ingredient formula like liver flush or kidney flush, if people are on a multitude of medications and they don't feel comfortable taking a multi-ingredient formula, they can still gain the benefits of noni juice and everything it has to offer without interfering with their medications. And this is where I talked about the medication aspect, because there are a lot of people who just are on a lot of medications and they don't feel comfortable taking a multi-ingredient formula. So noni juice might fit the bill for them, and they can still get all the benefits of getting, nutrients into their system. So I may not like, or I definitely don't like the unsweetened version, but I like the apple flavor. So don't let me deter what you might want to do, because there's a lot of people who like things au naturel, as the French say, and they may want to go with the unsweetened version of the noni juice versus the sweetened version. But we do have both versions, because we know that not everybody likes to take one or the other necessarily. You'll also find that with liquids, and I never mentioned this with the vitamin D, but I'm going to mention it now. Anytime you purchase a product that's in a liquid form, you're going to see results more quickly than if you take a capsule or a tablet. Now, liquids get into our bloodstream more quickly, and there is a tendency to see quicker results as a result of that. But I do know that not everybody likes the taste of liquids, so they'll get their antioxidants maybe from our super antiox or from another type of formula. But we do have, when there's vitamin D out there in a tablet and capsule form, I normally suggest, when I talk to people, if, and I find our vitamin D liquid tastes great, but again, taste is subjective. It's very cost effective. It works. For me, it tastes great. Even the unflavored, we just have options for everybody. If you have digestive issues and your digestive system is compromised, I always suggest taking liquids where possible, just because of the increased absorption factor. Then we've got our goji juice, which is 100% pure goji fruit. It's a traditional Chinese herb that supports the liver and kidneys. So right there, you could see where it could be a nice, gentle cleanse. It's also part of our Maculex formula, which is our vision support formula. It can help support eyesight. And I know for people who have issues driving at night, or their vision is not so great at night, goji juice can help with that. But it does contain 19 amino acids. 8 that are essential, 21 trace minerals and antioxidants like carotenoids, beta carotene, zeaxanthin, vitamin C, B complex vitamins, and vitamin E. They're all responsible for converting food into energy and protecting the body. Now, when people think about fruit, we all already know that fruit, generally speaking, is cleansing in nature, and we don't remove the fiber or the pulp, I guess you could say, from this formula or from this fruit, because the pulp provides fiber, and fiber is good for cleansing. So that's another great selling feature or a great asset, or feature of this product. Now, we suggest taking 2 tablespoons once a day. This is another one that gives you a nice energy boost. And I haven't taken all of the products at Omega Alpha, but over the years, I've tried a lot of them. Goji juice has a lovely flavor to it. And again, with the energy, much like with the noni, that's one of the things that I notice personally when I take both of these, is that the energy levels increase pretty quickly. So the goji juice contains antioxidants and nutrients, of course, iron, zinc, vitamin C and A. So anyone who has low iron levels, or anybody who, women who are menstruating, who are losing a lot of blood monthly, this could help to boost up their levels of iron. Also, you could also take the Dong Quai elixir. We've included the pulp, as I mentioned earlier, because it contains the fiber, and fiber is very well known for its cleansing abilities. Our goji is wild harvested from the Himalayan mountains. It supports the immune system, our skin. As you can imagine, when you're cleansing the body, anytime we cleanse the body, we clear toxins, so we do notice an improvement in our skin. It may not happen right away. It might take maybe a week or longer, depending on what's going on with our skin. And with the goji, again, part of a healthy vision support formula. So for people who, where their nighttime vision has been affected, or their vision has been affected in any way, we do support our vision health with goji. Positive moods this time of year. And I even notice with myself sometimes when the sun doesn't shine for a week at a time, you just feel different. And so you try to keep busy and do things, but you, the lack of sunshine does impact how we feel. And that's something that has been researched as well. So, well, our moods, we don't feel like getting out and doing much. We feel kind of humdrum. Well, these types of supplements, along with getting out into the sunshine, can really make a difference. And the detoxification support that is there, of course, with the fiber as an added benefit. And so this is where we get to our strategy slide. And, you know, I find it refreshing to talk about single ingredient formulas because we haven't really spoken about them a lot over time, but they do have their place. Everything has its place. And just giving you an idea. So, for example, if you're already taking a multivitamin, or maybe you're already taking a calcium and magnesium supplement, and maybe these supplements already contain vitamin D, and there's a hesitancy there for people to grab a single ingredient formula because they'll say, well, I already have it in my multi, or I'm already taking something with vitamin D. And that's fine. You don't need to take a single and vitamin D supplement, but sometimes we do, depending on what's going on, whether it's depression, sad, whether we're looking at osteoporosis and we just need to bump up our intake of vitamin D. You can always add vitamin D to a multivitamin or our CalMag Plus liquid or any of our magnesium based formulas, because a lot of people will take, again, some of them are single ingredient formulas, like the magnesium biglycinate, for example. You can combine, and all of our formulas have been formulated to be used together. So it kind of makes it easier to remember for everybody, because there's so many things to remember when it comes to taking supplements. And I'm trying to the best of my ability to keep things as simple and clear as possible. And that's why I always ask if there's something that you need further clarification on, please let me know. And that's why I love the venue. We're able to communicate with each other. So you can add the vitamin D to any of these or other supplements that you may be taking if you're dealing with if it's mental health or bone and joint, fibromyalgia, cardiovascular, blood sugar, whatever it might be, you can combine it. You can add it on. A noni or goji can be combined with ImmuBoost, and I'm bringing these products to the forefront because we're supporting our immune system usually during these months. People tend to get colds and flus during this time of year, so you can combine these formulas with ImmuBoost, Immunol, Echinacea Golden Seal, any of our cleansing formulas. Yes, they are cleansing, but you can add them to a liver flush or a kidney flush or a lung flush. You don't have to worry about overdoing it. And that's what I think there's a fear surrounding that when we add these formulas together. Am I taking too much? Am I overdoing it? Am I going to need to run to the washroom? Because, of course, if you take too much of anything, we know what can happen there. Now, another thing I'd like to bring up is that with single ingredient formulas like the noni and goji, they're better options for people who suffer with autoimmune disorders like diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, celiac disease, any type of autoimmune disorder. The more ingredients we add to a formula, we increase the chances of that particular formula not necessarily being okay or the best option for these autoimmune sufferers. So single ingredient formulas can be of great help, especially, vitamin D. All the formulas we looked at this morning can be very beneficial and very safe for autoimmune. Supplements can be taken preventatively. I really like to educate on that, but unfortunately, the majority of people usually tend to call us when there's something wrong with them, and that's fine. We are here for people regardless of the stage of their health issue. We can help out with short-term illness, acute or chronic. People can take these products longer term if they want to. With supplements, now, this is not, after I say this, people are probably going to say, yeah, right, in a perfect world, and I agree. Divided doses for supplements is best. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. Many people forget to take their supplements. So if they take it once a day, that's great for them. So if people can't take it throughout the day, that's fine. The reason I bring this up is because we really shouldn't be eating one meal a day. We should be eating throughout a number of meals throughout the day. But we want to mimic how we eat when we take our supplements because we want to provide our body with sustenance or support throughout the day. So that's why we normally suggest taking it in the morning or night or whatever it says on the label. It's in divided doses, but not everybody can adhere to that. So realistically speaking, if you get it into you once a day, at least you're getting it into you at least daily. Now, a lot of people think that taking a break and taking supplements every other day is a good thing to do. When you're dealing with specific health issues, it's best to take nutrients, natural supplements ongoing until the symptoms disappear, or as they lessen, we won't take as much as this of the supplement. So that's usually how it works for natural supplements or nutraceuticals. What happens if someone's taking medications and they want to take our vitamin Ds or our Noni or Goji? Well, we normally suggest, as a general comment, to take supplements 2 to 3 hours away from medications just to be safe. However, if you don't feel comfortable with that, please let us know. Give us a call. If I don't know the answer, I always speak with Dr. Chang, who is our CEO and chief formulator for all three product lines, and I can get back to you. But that toll-free number is a great resource. But I think most of you already have access to my email and you know how to reach me. But for those of you who are new, you can call me anytime. You can email me anytime. You can call our toll-free number. It's on the bottle and it's on the bottles, and it's a great resource for people, and you will actually speak with someone will answer the phone. It's not just a recording where you have to go through a recording and get frustrated, but there's always someone at Omega Alpha that will be there to help you. So your education does not end today. It continues with our monthly webinars. And on that note, I'd like to open it up if anybody has any lingering questions or wants to make a comment. Please feel free to do so. And as I mentioned earlier, you will receive in your inbox a link to the recording tomorrow, along with a copy of the presentation, so you can reference it in the future. You know, I'm learning all the time. I don't remember everything, and there's so much to speak about. But as you're learning about products and supplements and how to take them efficaciously or optimally, you can always reach out to us. We're only a phone call away or an email away. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining me this morning, and I hope to see you again next month. It's great having you back, a great way to share information. And again, please reach out if you have any questions. I wish you all a very good Tuesday and hope to see you again next month. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.